welcome everyone. Let's get into it. So we have some super sick changes here with Shiftry and Nuzleaf as well, but mostly Shiftry. I'm really excited to get into it. So, Shiftry was obviously pretty damn underwhelming. Yeah, it's good in the sun and normal games and whatnot, but it's just kind of meh. And I think Shiftry's very underrated. I think it's a really cool design. And it's a big shame that it was so underpowered because it's really cool. It's actually a ninja Pokemon. A lot of people, they talk about Greninja, they talk about Ninjas, but people forget about Shiftry. Shiftry is also a ninja, hence why I give it the ability Versatility, which is Protean, okay? So that gives Shiftry stab on every single one of his amazing array of new coverage moves, as well as coverage moves he always had, but lots of great new ones as well. And then Shiftry's other ability is another incredible boosting ability in Ruthless, which gives him a 50% boost to any move that lands a critical hit. And in this hack, there are tons and tons of reworked moves that crit 50% of the time or 100% of the time. So Shiftry has tons of great Ruthless options. In terms of 50% crit moves, he doesn't have that many. He has Razor Leaf, which is a 12% crit rate for early game. Of course, you're not gonna run that late game, or by the time you evolve. But in terms of what Shiftry has access to Leaf Blade and Night Slash, which are 70 base power moves that crit half the time. So if you throw a Scope Lens on your Shiftry, it always crits, which makes Leaf Blade and Night Slash go from 70 base power to 157 or 158 base power. And that also bypasses stuff like Intimidate, defense boosts on the opponent's side, all that kind of stuff. It's extremely powerful, much more powerful than Versatility, because Versatility just gives you stab on everything, which is a great ability, but Stab already applies to moves like Leaf Blade and Night Slash, so you're essentially getting that 50% increase on top of that. So Ruthless is stronger in terms of damage output, however Versatility is obviously an incredible ability for its own reasons. And I really like how it's this ninja Pokemon that has all these wind attacks, and the reason I give it a high speed stat, it's much faster. 105 base speed is a very good speed tier to be in. You can check out where Shiftry currently stacks up to other Pokemon on the speed tier guide. Obviously 105 is a little bit crowded, but it's still a great speed tier nonetheless. It also has much better physical defense, and HP is based more on size, so it has a little bit less HP because it's not very large. It's 4'3", so it's pretty short dude, so less HP but much more physical defense because he is literally made out of wood. So he has a solid bulk too. He's not that frail. I mean, especially he's pretty frail, but physically he could take some hits. And then he has great 105 offenses. When you add in the fact that it has Ruthless and Versatility, it's very powerful. So Shiftry's dex entries all talk about how it can here, I'll just read it. So the reason I already learned stuff like Icy Wind, so the reason I gave it stuff like Blizzard and Heat Wave and Hurricane is because all of the dex entries talk about how it here, I'll just read some entries that explain also weird moves like Psychic. For example, it gets Psychic because it learned Extra Sensory naturally in real games. It gets Aura Sphere because of these dex entries talking about how it can read the foe's mind and take preemptive action. Also because it's a ninja, and so it can just use a bunch of cool moves like that. So yeah, here it says, it flaps its leafy fans, it sends gusts of wind 100 feet per second that level houses. So it has incredibly powerful wind moves as well. You can read all these dex entries, chilly winter winds, and which is why it gets Blizzard. It's set to create chilly winter winds with the fans it holds. And that's all great with Versatility, so you can turn into any of these types, which I'll talk about later. But with Ruthless, I'm going to cover the Ruthless options first. So Ruthless is great with, of course, Night Slash and Leaf Blade, and then you also have Cycle Cut for coverage. Those are your 50% crit rate moves, and those are pretty solid, right? Those are very good. Scope Lens, they become very powerful, but your main impressive stuff is actually the 100% crit moves for Shiftry. So Shiftry has access to First Impression via TM very early on, which is a great, powerful option that always crits. So it's 60 base power, but it turns into 135 base power with Ruthless. Then you have Finishing Blow, which is 80 base power with Ruthless, essentially. I think it's 79 base power technically, but basically 80 base power. And that's very powerful as well. You can use that with speed boosting sets, and you can really get off some kills, pick some things off, and you can get that +3 attack boost when you kill something with Finishing Blow. So that's very awesome. Then you have Razor Wind, which is incredible at level 40. That works great with Power Herb. Razor Wind Power Herb is 270 base power with Ruthless, and it has a 30% chance to flinch. So that's a very strong flying type move. And then later on at level 50, you get actually, I believe it's 55, you get Aeroblast, which is incredibly powerful. That's flying type moves. That's a flying type move, while Heat Wave is the same exact thing, but it's fire type. I did consider Frost Breath because it talks about how it creates chilly winter winds, but I think Blizzard and Icy Wind are plenty. Frost Breath would be cool, but it's kind of weird that he would breathe ice, that's kind of weird. I think I can totally see Icy Wind. Oh, he already learned Icy Wind naturally in the real games, but Blizzard is just an extension of that logic. But he's so cool, man. Shiftry's so awesome. I love the changes for him. So, yeah, Aeroblast and Heat Wave are 65 base power moves. Heat Wave is via Move Tutor. Aeroblast is by a level up, and those are both very powerful. You don't even need to run Scope Lens with these moves, by the way. The 100% crit rate moves, you can run any item, and you'll still get that Ruthless boost. So, Aeroblast and Heat Wave go from 65 to, I believe, 130 Sorry, 146 base power, so those are very powerful options. And then you also have Explosion, which is very funny. Explosion is 250 base power, but it always crits. So with Ruthless, that turns into 562 base power Explosion, so that's actually stronger than Explosion used to be in the old games. And Explosion and a new move called Detonate both use the user's special attack stat, so that's pretty cool. Shiftry obviously has equal 105 in both, so it's a good mixed attacker, a great mixed attacker even. Also keep in mind, in this ROM hack, you do have access to infinite usability capsules and infinite and instantaneous EV trade-in. So for one fight, you're going to be running a special attacking set, the next fight, you're going to be running a physical attacking set. You know, it's as simple as that. You can just swap between. Same with your abilities. You can swap between Versatility and Ruthless. In fact, you can keep your crit moves. So you can keep Leaf Blade and Night Slash and Arrow Blast and all these moves. You can keep them if you desire, because those are not reteachable via TM or tutor. And so keeping those is a good idea, depending on your nature, your IVs. You know, you might be running physical or special sets more often. But the point is that you can keep those moves, and you can either get stab on them or get a Ruthless boost on them, depending on the occasion. And that other move slot you can rotate with a TM or tutor, you know, because you also have tons of other great stuff with Ruthless and, with Versatility, which I'll talk about. But I want to get all the Ruthless stuff out of the way first. So yeah, last two options are the other 100% crit rate moves that are physical. So you have Stone Edge via TM later in the game, which is very powerful. That's 80 base power, but it always crits and it's 90% accurate. So that essentially becomes 180 base power rock type move. You also have stuff like Rock Slide and Rock Tomb and stuff, which is great, but you know, Rock Climb, etc. All those are very powerful rock type moves. Again, one thing I want to preface is that you can, in fact, check out all of these changes for yourself in the description down below. You can click the description, you can click search all moves here, and you can look up every single move change and buff. There's 130 plus new moves, 28 plus custom new abilities, dozens and dozens and dozens of moves are reworked. In fact, the vast majority of moves are, to the point where I would just say assume every move is changed, because there's like maybe 5 moves that aren't changed, like Earthquake, Iron Head, and maybe like a few more are not changed, but for the most part, every move is changed. But yeah, lastly, you have Wicked Blow, alright, which is stab on Shiftry, and it's really perfect. I love how he has Ruthless Wicked Blow, because he's literally called the Wicked Pokemon, so I love that he gets Ruthless Wicked Blow. Absolutely insanely powerful option at level 70. Of course, that is towards the very end of the game. That's only for like Hapu, Gladion, the Elite Four, Champion, and then all of the post-game, which is very extensive, and you should definitely try the post-game out. It's very fun, but you know, it's extremely powerful, okay? Night Slash is already strong enough, let alone Wicked Blow. You don't even need to run Scope Lens. You can run Wide Lens. Wide Lens is a great set on Shiftry, because a lot of your crit moves are slightly inaccurate. For example, Wicked Blow and Stone Edge have a 90% chance to miss. Sorry, 10% chance, excuse me. And then Aero Blast and Heat Wave have a 5% chance to miss, so it's nice to run a Wide Lens. Also for stuff like Grass Whistle. Grass Whistle's 80% accurate and always lasts 2 turns. So that first turn is counted when you put them asleep. So you'll essentially get a free turn of setup. So you put them to sleep with Grass Whistle, you land it. With Wide Lens, Grass Whistle becomes, I believe, 97% accurate, because Wide Lens is also buffed to be a 15% accuracy boost. Again, you can check out all these changes for yourself in the description below. I would recommend it. I think it would be fun for anybody who's interested in this kind of thing to look at the sheets. They're very detailed, and you know, I put a lot of effort into listing it all out there so you can all look at it. But yeah, that's all your Ruthless options, okay? So you have Night Slash Cycle Cut. Oh, I didn't give them Cross Chop. I wanted to do that. Let me do that. Let's go Cross Chop on there. Forgot to do that. Cross Chop is another one, so Cycle Cut and Cross Chop. Let's do that real quick. Cycle Cut, Cross Chop, Night Slash, and Leaf Blade. And you have Aero Blast and Heat Wave, and then Wicked Blow and Stone Edge and First Impression and Finishing Blow. And Explosion, all of which are incredible Ruthless options, okay? Hopefully that sums that up. Let me quickly go to Nuzleaf and Shiftry and just add that in the files. I forgot about it. Cross Chop. Shop. There we go. Alright, we're good now. So, that's Ruthless for you, okay? Versatility is also incredible, however. He has tons of coverage. So, when he evolves, he tries to learn a bunch of priority moves. So, you already have Seed Shot, Leaf Flurry, and Night Burst, and Sucker Punch, which are stab priority options, okay? Night Burst and Leaf Flurry being special, Seed Shot and Sucker Punch being physical. And then you also have First Impression, which is a great priority option, which works great with both Versatility or Ruthless. So, that's awesome. However, when you evolve to Shiftry, you also learn stuff like Twister, Gust, and Silver Gale, all 3 of which are priority moves. So that's Bug, Dragon, and Flying type priority as well, so that works great with Versatility. And then you also have, you know, Air Slash, Razor Wind, Aero Blast, Hurricane, and Acrobatics and Bounce for Flying type Versatility moves. You have Extrasensory and Psychic. You have Aura Sphere, Power Punch, Focus Blast, Close Combat, Low Kick, Brick Break. For fighting type, you know, Cross Chop, that all works great with Versatility. You have Play Rough, you have Stone Edge, Rock Slide, Earth Power, Stopping Tantrum, Bulldoze, Gunk Shot, Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, all kinds of insane. Heat Wave, you know, it's so much coverage. It's really awesome. I really love it with Shiftry. So you can really become a lot of different types, and you can really swap your sets around depending on the occasion. So one boss fight you might need this coverage move. The next boss fight you're gonna swap that coverage out for another coverage move. You know, maybe you need priority, maybe you need setup because you also have access to Sora's Dance, Calm Mind, Bulk Up, and Nasty Plot. All of which are obviously great setup moves, and those pair good with Grass Whistle as well if you want that guaranteed setup. You know, you also got great utility, so stuff like Parting Shot and Toxic Spikes. I gave them Toxic Spikes because stuff like Greninja learned it, so why not give it to Shiftry as well? Because they are both ninjas, so it's the same logic. And it's a cool TM, and I've been giving it to a lot more mons anyways, so that's a good option. Parting Shot is great. Also, something that is worth noting is that Nuzleaf is also technically a Violet viable. Not as much as Lombre and Ludicolo is, because Shiftry is so strong and stuff that I wouldn't recommend using Nuzleaf long term, but maybe for a few levels if you need the extra bulk, because a Violet Nuzleaf is pretty damn bulky with 60, 75, 60 bulk. And it has unique abilities, so I think it's kind of cool that both Nuzleaf and Lombre have Prankster. Both fit the ability very, very well, especially Lombre, because it's literally a Kapamon, and you can go watch that video for more information about why Prankster is good on Lombre. But for Nuzleaf, it's also a very viable option, especially for the mid-game when you evolve. So with Prankster, you have access to Torment, Leech Seed, Stealth Rock, Toxic Spikes, Taunt, Parting Shot, Leer and Confide drop this opponent's stats, so Leer drops defense by 2, Confide drops special attack and special defense by -1, so those are great options for Prankster as well, especially versus totems and stuff. You can get that really fast Prankster Confide off, or that fast Prankster Leer, or Prankster Parting Shot, Prankster Taunt, Prankster T-Spikes, etc. You also have Prankster setup like Calm Mind or Bulk Up, which would be good with the Light. So that's always really fun to use. Alright, definitely worth investing. Obviously, I would not recommend using a Violet Nuzleaf long term. The only reason it's a Violet Mon is because Lombre is, and it would be weird if one was and the other one wasn't. So I had to make it a Violet for consistency, but you could totally use it. I mean, if you're a fan of Nuzleaf, you know, it is the Nuzlocke Pokemon or whatever, you could totally use Nuzleaf. It's a good Mon with a Violet. But Shiftry is incredible, so yeah, it's just super fun. I mean, I really love these guys' changes. It's so fucking sick. Like, just changes into all these types. Great offensive mon, also great good support. He has good you know, utility moves and stuff. Solar Rush is also good on Nuzleaf. It has very good stats overall. I mean, 80 attack and special attack and an 80 speed is good. You can run like a bulky set, a very bulky set with Solar Rush and you know, Eviolite, and you can actually take like very little damage from attacks with max HP and max attack or special attack, and you don't need any speed investment because 80 base speed with Solar Rush up, even with 0 investment, is very, very, very fast. And you can run Growth, which you actually learn pretty early. You learn Growth at 33, so you can actually abuse Solar Rush Growth. Even if you evolve as soon as you hit 35, you can still abuse Nuzleaf in the Sun for those two levels, which is cool. You could probably use it versus Olivia, for example, if you are 33 by that point, which I'm not positive exactly what her level will be, but she'll be between 30 and 33 most likely, so that's always fun. Yeah, again, it's like Stealth Rock, Toxic Spike, so much utility. Like Torment plus Protect is great with Prankster. You can essentially just disable a move permanently or Protect, and you can also get like residual healing with like lefties if you want to do that. It's kind of gimmicky, but it's good for early game stuff. For example, maybe versus like Hala. Also, he has extra sensory for Hala, which is nice. Doesn't make him as useless for Hala. Not that he's useless regardless. I mean, he's a strong Mon. But yeah, Solar Rush is pretty good. Again, you do have the Sunny Day TM, so you can just use it, the Infinite Usability Capsule, and swap between. So say one fight for Shiftry, you know, one fight you might need the Ruthless boost for Night Slash and stuff. The next fight you might need Stab on your coverage moves. The next fight you might need Ruthless again. So you swap between his abilities at will. It's very, very versatile, hence the ability name. Having Infinite Ability Capsules is a great tool that you should be using. You shouldn't just keep one ability and use it the whole game, unless you want to. By all means, go ahead. But if you're doing a more challenging run, like a hardcore Nuzlocke, I would definitely recommend taking advantage of the Infinite Usability Capsule and swapping between your abilities and swapping between your TMs and tutors. That's why I designed the hack to be that you use those TMs and tutors as you go on over and over again. You teach them, you go back and use this move, you go back and use this move for this fight, that kind of thing. But yeah, Solar Rush is good on Nuzleaf, Prankster is good on Nuzleaf, you know, you ability capsule those around. As for C-Dot, it's a good mon for Melee Island. It's very bulky. Grassy Guard is a great ability on it with Grassy Terrain via TM. Grassy Guard gives it a 50% defense boost, so you can use like Leech Seed, Grassy Guard versus like Totem Gumshoes, for example, and you become very tanky with 75 base defense, and you actually become pretty damn strong with 55 base special attack and Leech Seed and Mega Drain. You can become very stally, you know, Leech Seed, Mega Drain, Protect, Grassy Terrain, you know, Protect, Grassy Terrain, TM. You know, you got Mega Drain, Leech Seed, that's a perfect moveset right there. You just run those moves, you become very, very tanky and very stally. So that's a very good mon for Melee Island. Really, really fun to use, and I think the abilities fit very nicely as well. Man, this is so fun. There's so much other little stuff here. Like, there's a bunch of great setup moves. You know, some of these moves are kind of weird, like logically, like, oh, you know, play rough's kind of weird. But I've been giving play rough to a lot of mons, so why not do it to Shiftry just for the versatility stuff? It's pretty fun in terms of the fairy type. Those are 110 base power moves. Play rough, rock climb, and takedown are 110 base power recoil moves. Basically, all these moves are reworked or changed in some regards, so I would definitely recommend just checking out the description and looking at the move buffs and changes and just searching up every single move and just seeing what they do, and you'll learn pretty quickly what I've done with all the moves. So, yeah, super fun stuff here. I really love Shiftry the way it turned out. Super, super sick. Yeah, that's really about it. I mean, you have stuff like Whirlwind, which is great utility for setup sets, or just in general for utility, because Whirlwind is priority and has 1 PP, so you can essentially guarantee that the opponent gets switched out. Z Whirlwind, I believe, also gives you +3 speed now, so you can use that on Shiftry, which is nice. You know, you get that +3 speed, you know, so you get that for free, versus with Agility, which gives you +2 speed, you have to take a hit, you know, so you might have to use Sash or something else to take that hit if, like, the opponent in front of you is going to kill you. But Z Whirlwind is a free +3 speed, so you can use that with like Finishing Blow and Ruthless or something, and you know, and then you can sweep. Obviously, you have to be creative and work around stuff, but it's still great nonetheless. You could also, like, in competitive, obviously the competitive is not relevant here because this is in-game stuff, but if this wasn't competitive, it'd be kind of fun to use like T-Spikes, Stealth Rock, Explosion or something. That'd be kind of funny with Ruthless or Versatility. Ruthless gives you 50% boost, but Versatility also gets you stab on Explosion, so it's the same thing. Ruthless is stronger than Versatility because you have Night Slash, Leaf Blade, and Wicked Blow. Otherwise, it's just as strong as Versatility. But for those 3 moves, Ruthless is much stronger. Not to mention, there might be some occasions where you don't want to change your type. Maybe you want to resist whatever's in front of you. You know, maybe you want to keep your typing for whatever reason. So that's why you have infinite usability capsules, and you can swap between them. So that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's about it, actually. I think I covered about everything. Super sick changes here. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. So I hope you are as well. Again, you can check out what all these other moves do in the sheet below. I recommend doing that. It's definitely worth your time. I'm not going to list every single move buff, but like all of these late game moves are very strong. You know, got some good early game stuff like Drop Kick, and this stuff is all nice. Good utility. Ingrain is good. You know, all this stuff is buffed and changed in some regards. So I would just check that out if that interests you. Yeah, that's about it. Super, super sick changes here. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you drop a like on the video and also leave a comment. That would be very helpful for me and for the algorithm. If you could do that, it would get my videos recommended to more people. So if you enjoyed it, just make sure you share that with me. I think that's about it. You can always join my Discord server in the description as well. So not only are the Google Sheets in there, but you can also join my Discord server and talk to people in there. You can talk to me in there. You can play my older ROM hack in there, all that fun stuff. So feel free to check that out if that interests you as well. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back for more, guys. Bye.